All right, so moving on to the NFC. So we just touched on AFC. Heading into NFC, we're going to start with the NFC East. Oh, the NFC East, the joke of the NFL for the past few years.
Yeah, super funny.
Now, 4 teams, 500 better, and only 4 teams playing that division. So go figure. So lots of surprise to talk about the division, but you know what? It's our show, so we're going to talk about our 6-2 New York Giants. It was thought to be a rebuilding year. We have brand new QB.
He's playing like he's brand new. He's playing like he's brand new.
We have brand new GM, brand new coach. Daniel Jones taking a huge leap in his now 4th year. Saquon looking like the Saquon of old. Andrew Thomas, best left tackle in the league.
About time.
Question is, Chuck, with 2 games against the Eagles coming up, another game against the Cowboys, 2 against Washington, is this a real deal playoff team?
I mean, you saw before the trade deadline on Tuesday, they didn't make any moves to make themselves better. They're sticking to what they got, but when do the Giants ever make moves before the trade deadline? I guess they're saving their money, but I really do think that, first of all, who would have thought? Not me, not any other Giant fan. But they're playing lights out. They got a new culture. They're playing with nothing to lose. They got balls. I love Dayball. I love what the defensive coordinator is doing. They're playing great defense on the back end against the pass, which is insane. If they stay healthy, they have a complete team. So I see them why not? Why not us? Why not us squeak into the playoffs as a 7th seed?
Yeah, and it's hard to be upset about that loss against Seattle. I mean,
I'm not. Yeah, I was. It was 2 fumbles. It was 2 fumbles.
2 fumbles, and it's a really tough place to play, regardless. So we'll take it. I mean, there are plenty of games on the schedule where no one thought the Giants would win.
Exactly.
But yeah, the Giants, I believe they still have some pretty easy games coming up. I know they play the AFC South, so you got the Jaguars and Texans right there. The Giants, I'm pretty sure they also get the Lions coming up, and that's in addition to an NFC East foes that they have remaining. So the schedule shapes up, and as well as the rest of the conference, which we'll get into, for this team to be a wild card playoff team. It'd be a long shot for them to catch up to the Eagles, but they have the makings with, experienced quarterback, playmakers. I think once Wan'Dale Robinson really gets to the fold, he'll develop as a legit weapon. And the O-line has been exceeding expectations, as well as the defense.
I say A1 steak sauce to that.
Absolutely. But not to ignore the other teams in the NFC East. So
it's now the NFC Beast. It's become the NFC Beast.
For real. So we obviously know the Eagles are a clear playoff lock. You got the Cowboys, who are trending in that direction. And then you got Washington, who seems to be revitalized with the Taylor Heineke addition to the starting lineup. Chuck, what's the number of playoff teams that makes it from the NFC East?
I honestly want to say 4. Can 4 teams make it?
Yes, they can, but will they?
They can, right? Because I've been going through scenarios in my head, but now with an extended 14-team playoff in the NFL, there's never been in the history of the NFL where 4 teams out of one division have made it. It's always been 3, but I think this year could be the year where we see 4 teams make it into the playoffs. Now, for that to happen, there's going to have to be some Washington's going to have to beat the Cowboys and the Eagles. Giants are going to have to beat the Cowboys and the Eagles, lose to Washington once, and also beat Washington. So maybe the Eagles just squeak out with the division win, but I think this division is very much up for grabs. I'm not scared of any of those teams. If I'm on the Giants, they didn't even have the full grasp of the scheme when they played the Cowboys in week 3. It was only week 3. So I'm excited for this next half of the season. And I think it would be the first year where 4 NFL teams in the same conference, in the same division, make the playoffs.
It would be remarkable, but let's analyze these other divisions to see if any of them can possibly pull 2 teams into it, because that's going to be really the deciding factor.
And I just have one more, a little I think everyone's overreacting about the Eagles. I think the Eagles have played nobody, and they definitely can be beaten by any other good NFC team. So, and then I'm just gonna leave that there.
Interesting. I debate whether there are really any other good NFC teams. But before we get into that debate, let's break down some of these other teams. So the NFC North could definitely be up there as one of the most disappointing divisions.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of disappointing divisions, but the Vikings are looking very impressive at the top. But then you got the Packers, the Bears, who weren't really expected to do much anyway, who they probably are exceeding expectations of anything. And the Lions have one of the worst records in the NFL. My first question is to you, Chuck. Based on preseason expectations from you, me, and the public, who's more disappointing, Packers or the Lions?
I'm gonna say I think I'm gonna go with Lions, because I think the Packers, a lot of people are writing them off, but I think the Packers, like, you got Aaron Rodgers, like, you can still turn your season around. So I definitely, and then with the way the NFC is shaping up, like, they can squeak in at 9-8, but they're gonna have to get to some winning. But I think the Lions is the team that actually, like, is the most upsetting, because even though, like, their defense is like one of the worst pass defenses in the league, their offense has been non-existent. Injuries have barred them. I feel bad for Dan Campbell. The guy coaches so hard, and, like, I would honestly run through a big brick wall for him. But it's just like, who's running the offense? Who's running the defense? How are you giving up this many points but scoring so many points at the same time? It's the Lions. It's disarray. And now you gave up Hawkinson for
In division too.
Yeah, in division. I don't know what you're doing there. In division trade, giving them a bunch of picks. Maybe they know something that nobody else knows. Maybe they wrote off Hawkinson like, oh, he's not going to be as good as he ever did. We'll just give him to the Vikings. They'll have two prolific tight ends. But very concerning for the Lions, for the future of the Lions too. It's just, I would hate to be a Detroit fan.
And the reason why I asked that question is because it's extremely hard for me to answer either. So on the Packers side, because you just touched on the Lions, Aaron Rodgers coming into the season, the big thing was he had no receiving help, and people kind of just assumed that Rodgers will turn one of these guys into a superstar. Many expect him to be Romeo Doubs, but as good as Doubs has flashed, he's had a lot of mistakes, whether it's running the route not the correct way, or drops, or just not being able to get those balls quite like Devontae did. Rodgers has been a little bit impatient with his receivers, or maybe not patient enough. I don't know, but
yeah, maybe I don't get it.
Yeah, so people underestimate how much of a struggle it would be with these young receivers. So maybe I would say they need a bye week to correct, but they don't have to buy until week 14, so that's gonna be tough for them.
It's gonna be fucking tough, and their defense is just not living up to expectations whatsoever.
Right, that too. The defense was expected to be one of the best in the league, and that's what made this team was supposed to be good. So they're not living up to expectations, and I think the thing that most disappoints me about the Lions is that the potential is right stinking there. I mean, if you go back to when Amon-Ra St. Brown got hurt against the Vikings, they were winning that game, the Lions, and then the Vikings came back because the Lions ran out of offensive gas. Then all these injuries, they go on this losing streak. You got the game against the Cowboys, which they could have easily won, but they fumbled on the 1 yard line.
Yeah, dude, I know. That's just, you can't do that.
Yeah, so
that's coaching. I feel like that's also coaching.
He probably should have challenged it, but you can't control your player fumbling. I wouldn't blame this totally on Dan Campbell. I just think it's just the Lions being snake bitten, period.
Yeah, they're cursed.
Before we move on, Vikings, overrated or underrated at their current 6-1 record?
I'm gonna go with underrated. Even though everybody writes off primetime Kirk Cousins, they do. Now they just got Hawkinson. Their offense, like, they're inexcusable if they don't put up like 25 a game, more than 25 a game, inexcusable. And for Jefferson to not have touchdowns, a lot of touchdowns, but he has a shit ton of yards. But it just opens up more for other receivers like Hawkinson, Irv Smith. You got 2 tight end sets now. They can run the ball more with Madison or whatever. He looks like a dog. He could be just as good as Dalvin. So that offense is just insanely good, and they got a veteran-filled defense that I think if they get hot, they can stay hot because they've been together for a long time, that defense.
Yeah, my opinion, I'll keep it at this. They're good. They're not 6-1 good. Their defense is
I
still
agree. They're not 6-1 good. I feel like they should be 5-3.
Yeah, and you talk about the Eagles not playing anyone good, but the Eagles embarrassed the Vikings when they played them, and that's the Vikings' only loss, obviously. But the Vikings look like they never had a chance in that game. So
yeah,
just keep that in mind. NFC South now. This might be the worst division of football this year. You got the Falcons leading it at 4-4 when they easily could have lost that game had DJ Moore not prematurely taken his helmet off.
Yeah, that was bad.
And obviously the Buccaneers are supposed to be the runaway favorites, but Tom Brady, the divorce drama, Chuck. Okay, so what has gone wrong with the Bucs? What is going on with them?
So what it is with the Bucs is, I think they're still hungover from the Super Bowl, 1, and 2, a lot of distractions, which Brady really has never had any distractions throughout his whole career. Now he has another thing of adversity where he always talks about how, when he was suspended and Deflategate and shit like that. But like this is like he's got own personal problems happening to him, so it's obviously affecting his play. He's not as sharp as he is, as he used to be, at least. In their offense, they can't get a run game going, so they can't set up play action, and they don't have a Gronkowski that can just catch double team balls, and they'll double Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin gets hurt. Julio Jones is non-existent. So there's just a lot of things. And then on defense, they got injuries in the DBs. And then one thing, Levante David's showing how old he is. Like they're not flying around like they used to be. And Devin White is like taking plays off throughout the game. I watched this bit on Instagram or whatever, or someone was saying this dude is like not even though he's 10 yards away from the play, there's a thing in defense where every man gets to the ball. 11 hats on the ball at the end of the play. 7 guys in the picture of the film at the end of the play. He's just not even running. So it's just a lack of effort too. So I think it's also a lot of doing with Antonio Brown putting a curse on them. I think ever since Antonio Brown left, they haven't been the same. So.
And one thing you didn't touch on, because you touched on most of it. Actually, I'll bring up 2 things. Number one, the offensive line is not the same as last year's.
Yes.
With the injuries and the departures, it's made life a little bit more difficult. Brady doesn't have the same time that he used to, but a lot of people are blaming the coaching. And, the things you point out with like Devin White not giving his full effort, or, Brady being unable to find his tight ends, Todd Bowles, respect to him, great defensive mind, but when he has coached in the NFL before, he has not succeeded, and he struggles to just be creative on offense. I mean, they know it's coming. It's going to be Leonard Fournette run, and then we're going to run 3 receivers out, and like it's just becoming
Mike Evans. Like you could see it.
Yeah, it's bad. But before we touch on the Bucs too much, the Atlanta Falcons. Are they for real as a playoff contender?
I think they're so for real. Like they got a dual threat quarterback, good young wide receivers in Pitts and London, and guys also who'd make plays like Zacchaeus and I forget who else.
Damiere Byrd.
Number 14. Jameer Byrd, dude, he caught this stick route, just a hitch, turned it up for fucking 40 yards across the field. I saw that. I was like, dude, he's the fastest player on the field today. That was an insane play. And they got lucky with the DJ Moore penalty, but still your professional kicker make the extra point. So it's both their faults. And then the Falcons squeeze it out in overtime. They're the best in their division right now. Bold statement here. I think the Falcons come away with it. I think they do.
Yeah, I'm trying to even think, like, you got the Saints. Don't forget about
Lorenzo Carter, Lorenzo Carter balling on the Falcons.
you. All right.
Yes,
Lorenzo Carter, yeah, he's been extremely solid. AJ Terrell, once he's healthy again, will play that shutdown corner role as he does very well.
Oh yeah.
But I'm gonna have to really side with the Saints here. I think the Saints will turn it up in the latter half of the season. Now, obviously, we got news today. Michael Thomas is out for the year, most likely. But
what happened to him?
he had a great season, and the diva mindset controlled him. And I guess you could say injuries too, but he might just not be taking care of his body at this point.
Dude, right? Like, come on, man. Like, I'm pretty sure it was turf toe. But anyway, continue.
But I like the Saints to sneak into the playoffs. Actually, I didn't like them in the offseason, but they have played very well this year. And they're gonna get Jameis back and healthy pretty soon, and he will make this offense a lot better. I like their weapons. You got Kamara, who now it looks like he's going to play the entire season,
and he's finally trying.
Yeah, he looks like a beast, and they got to get Lattimore back because they've just had a ton of trouble stopping number one receivers this year. They need him, but because this division is so wide open, and the Falcons don't. I'm not confident in their pass game whatsoever, and they've had success running the ball, but how sustainable can that be?
Yeah, it's not consistent. That's facts.
So regardless, it's a crap division. Whoever comes out of it, who knows any playoff damage. But we're gonna move on to NFC West, who every team is hovering around 500. But the biggest deal in this division is Seattle Seahawks, who not only are they 5-3, but it's not even, you can't even call it fluky. They're a top 10 offense and defense this year.
They're a good team. It's really weird. I wonder, did we say anything about the Seahawks being good?
Get this. So we were down on the Seahawks, but your NFC West Rookie of the Year was Kenneth Walker.
He's balling.
My NFC Rookie of the Year, NFC West Rookie of the Year, was Tariq Woolen.
Both balling.
Talk about good ass picks.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll go back and look back, but the fact that both of them won awards this past week for Rookie of the Offensive Rookie of the Week and Defensive Rookie of the Week in the NFC, that is remarkable. Both for us, but for how well the Seahawks have drafted.
Oh yeah, I'm happy for Geno too, honestly.
Absolutely. So, talking about the other teams in this division. So, we had the Rams and 49ers play this past weekend. The 49ers came out on top. Chuck, true or false? Seeing how Christian McCaffrey played with the full snaps that he did, it makes the 49ers a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, I mean, they're a Super Bowl contender. I'm going to say not just because of him, but yes, he does add to it a lot. So I'm going to say true on that. But he opens up a lot for other players. Like, dude, not only do they have him, they got Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, dude. And I don't know if you noticed, Brandon Ayuk like talks shit like every other play on the field. I don't know if you're seeing this. Like he does little things to piss people off.
It's typical wide receiver.
I know. He reminds me of like Aqib Talib and Michael Crabtree. But besides the fact, they have such like a good foundation on offense that like they can give the ball to anybody in space and look at 10 yards. And all Jimmy G has to do is take care of the football, and they win those games.
Yeah, just be a game manager, Jimmy G. Don't try to do too much, and let
McCaffrey can't do too much either, even though he's a running back. But just block.
He can't throw past TDs every game for sure.
Yeah, no, they're gonna look. They're definitely gonna look. Now defenses are gonna be all over that. So I don't think I would have played that card in that game.
Right. So on the Rams side, the Rams look like lost when they're not throwing the ball to Cooper Kupp. Like their offensive line is a huge issue. They've shuffled
Whitworth.
Yeah, they miss Whitworth. They've shuffled through so many different combinations because of injuries and just guys not playing well. But do you see any chance with, Stafford, Cup, McVay, we got the trio there, the experienced trio. Can they turn around and make one of these wide open playoff spots?
Yeah, they can definitely turn around, but it's got to be this weekend. So I know one of our picks is the Rams Bucks game.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure it's at Bucks.
Yes.
And so it starts this weekend. Rams have to win this game at the Buccaneers. Cooper Kupp is with an ankle injury. I think he's playing though, but he's going to be limited snaps. I still believe in Stafford. Their line stinks, but they have Sean McVay, and what Sean McVay has shown is you give him pieces, he will put together a good offense and he'll win games. So I'm not going to count him out. And I think the Rams, they can control their own destiny. That's what they can do.
Yeah, but there's one more factor in this, and it's been a factor since the season began. It's Stafford's arm, or more specifically his elbow. It's been a concern. People are wondering about it. Is it going to limit him all season? And it has, it doesn't help that he's not getting a ton of receiver help. But Stafford, he's sure he just won a Super Bowl, but he's taken so many hits and had so many injuries throughout his career. You gotta wonder if he's getting to that point where he's just shot. Like he's just not that quarterback anymore.
I mean, yeah, I totally agree. We'll definitely see it. Hopefully he doesn't need like surgery or anything after the season too.
He probably will. Let's be honest. He's probably getting something.
And then we'll have something for next season. See how he lasts.
Yeah. Okay. So we touched on most of these teams, but for now, you want to close that door? Or
yeah. Sorry, my dog just came. Coco, come on, man. I'm recording. I'm like Rams all weekend.
Okay. So we went over all these teams. Let's briefly run down each conference. We'll have our own picks. Okay, so let's go with the AFC. Who's the 1 seed in the AFC?
Oh, in the AFC, I got I was gonna say Chiefs, but it's Bills because their division poop here.
It's the Bills because they won that game. That's a big tiebreaker.
Yeah, that too.
At number 2, though, I do have the Chiefs. The Chiefs.
Agreed.
Coming into this season, it was far from a guarantee that they would win the division, but it was far from a guarantee that they'd win the division. But now that the competition has weakened significantly, I definitely like the Chiefs to be that team.
I agree. And then 3, we agree, Titans.
3 Titans. So it's them or the AFC North winner. So yeah, I think the Titans will be able to rack up more easy wins. And
their division is just so bad. I think they get the 3 seed because I think the AFC North 4 Ravens.
I have the Cleveland Browns, believe it or not.
Browns, okay, with Deshaun Watson coming back.
I don't think
I could see it if they can hold this record to 2 games under 500.
I don't think the Browns record reflects the team that they actually are. They've lost a ton of close nail-biting games, which obviously, it comes down to coaching in a lot of these instances. But this is better than a 3-5 team. Their offensive line is really good. Their pass rush is really good. Once Denzel Ward will get healthy soon. Great OHIO.
Yeah.
Great running game. A lot of good pieces all around. This team could go on a run once Watson gets back in the fold, and the Ravens could be on decline soon with their injuries.
Okay, I agree. And then so we have the 3 wild card spots.
My number 5, I got the Miami Dolphins.
I'm with Dolphins at 5. They'll have the better record, 100%.
Yeah, I got the Dolphins at 5. And then I think once you get to like 6 and 7, you're gonna have
up there.
You're gonna have a bunch of 9 and 8 teams. It's going to be very close. So I'm going to slide in at my number 6 team. I'm gonna have the New England Patriots.
Wow. Okay.
It's the quarterback play has been suspect, but their defense, especially in the secondary, the way that they've stepped up and played, with the amount of uncertainty of all these teams, I'm gonna side with the experienced coach and the well-playing defense
I
to
agree.
sneak
I
into one of
agree.
these spots. And then at the number 7 spot, it's going to be really close between the Ravens and Broncos, but I'm going to go with the Ravens here at the number 7 spot. I would venture to say that they lose a close tiebreaker with the Browns for division, but
Okay.
the Broncos, I believe they will turn around to an extent in the rest of this season. But their losses early are just gonna, it's gonna haunt them. And the Ravens, they've won enough close games already to put themselves in a good position. And while they might decline a little bit, they'll still have enough to win enough games to make the playoffs.
I could see that happening. My 4 is different. Mine's Ravens. I agree with your 5 with Miami. I'm gonna go with Bengals at 6, and then 7 is gonna be the Broncos. I think the Broncos. I think they could beat the Raiders and then beat the Chargers twice. I don't know. I feel like the Broncos just have some of that rush danger witch in them. I don't know what it is because they
Yeah,
just have a good defense too in the back end.
I'll admit I kind of forgot about the Bengals there, but at the same time, they could go on a slide if their offense played the way it did previously without Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I mean I could see Browns, but I just think Browns are Browns. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, you make a good point without having to say much. Okay, we're gonna go over to the NFC.
Yo, overreaction. I just have one overreaction. Lions run the table and they squeak in
Really,
at the
is that
7.
is that
They starts this weekend. They just beat the Packers and then they get healthy and then they just score 50 points a game. I don't know.
I would love to see that. But is
Just
that
make
official
Rodgers look
prediction?
like an
Is that an
idiot.
official prediction?
We'll
Lock
see.
it
It
in.
starts this weekend.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's start from the top. At the number 1 seed, this might be a bit of a surprise, but I'm actually going to go with the Minnesota Vikings. And
Okay.
the Eagles do have the tiebreaker, but the Eagles don't have the same luxury of playing in a soft division. So, hold on one second. They don't have the same luxury of playing in a soft division. So I think the Vikings could sneak into that 1 seed with a better record, but that doesn't mean that they're a better team.
Okay. I'm gonna go with if you're gonna do a Vikings 1, your 2 is Eagles.
Yes.
So I'm gonna go opposite. So I'm gonna go 1 Eagles, 2 Vikings. What's your 3?
And you know what? I could be making a crazy prediction here, but at the end of the day, it's an easier division, and
Yeah,
Vikings
I
have
agree.
off their coaching. At the number 3 seed, I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers. I love the Seahawks, love the story, but with the addition of McCaffrey and hopefully getting a little bit healthier on defense, the 49ers will step up and they will take that division.
I agree. Niners, I think that, yeah, they definitely make a run. They definitely beat the Seahawks and they take that division for the 3rd seed. 4?
Yeah. 4, after much deliberation, we talked about the NFC South, how tight it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to slide the Buccaneers at number 4.
Okay, so you think because Brady's going to be Brady?
They're gonna have their bye week coming up soon, and it's so close, and we could see a quarterback change with the Falcons. There's that uncertainty there. Same with the Saints. So I'm gonna pencil in the Bucks as a 4 seed, but not a strong 4 seed.
Okay, I'm gonna do Falcons because
Okay,
I don't want to see Brady in the playoffs, so I'm gonna go Falcons.
it's your ranking, so fair enough to you. My number 5 seed is going to be the Dallas Cowboys. Especially because I think they have a big match advantage over the New York Giants with their pass rush and the Giants' young O-line. So I would love to see them try to upset them at Dallas, but I don't see it happening. So
Yeah,
Dallas at 5. And then
I agree with Dallas at 5 too.
So then I'm gonna go Seattle at 6 and the New York Giants at 7.
Agree with all 3. All 3. 5, 6, and 7. I'm with that.
Yeah.
I think Giants just squeak in. I think they can go. I think they realistically go 11-6 or 10-7.
Yeah, I think that the two division winners that we talked about in the NFC South and the NFC well, okay, so more so the NFC South, they'll have a
Yeah.
very weak record, which will inflate the wild card teams' records.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I agree with that.
but yeah, so those are our playoff predictions for midway through the season. We're gonna recap that at the end of the year, just like we did with our preseason picks.
100%.
So I got 7 minutes left on the Zoom call. So before we end the Zoom call, let's get into our NFL pick'em.
Yes, picks real quick. I love it.
Yes, sir. So we got 3 games on the slate. You know, we got our lock, we got our upset. So the very first one we're going to talk about is the Cardinals versus Seahawks. We barely touched on the Cardinals. Hold on. We barely touched on the Cardinals, but the Cardinals, you know, have played well on defense. They have the ability to pull this upset, but they got to hold a lead in the first half, you know. So personally for me in this game, I think the Seahawks take it. They had their number last time, and they're playing well enough on defense to stymie Kyler and Tariq Woolen, you know, my guy, my rookie at corner.
Lockdown.
He could at least limit Hopkins and he won't be as explosive.
I mean, all valid points. Cardinals are at home. I think they're playing like this has got to be this has got to be Arizona's Super Bowl. Like they got like it's this weekend or nothing. They lose. I think they're out of the playoffs. So I'm gonna go with the Cardinals because they have everything weighing on their shoulders right now. And the Seahawks, I don't think they really. Yes, they have to play like a playoff team, but I feel like the Seahawks will play more like they'll take risks, as the Cardinals won't really take risks here. So I think the Cardinals just squeeze it out by 2 points.
Okay, so we're divided on that game. Are we also divided on this interesting match between two disappointing teams, the Raiders and Jaguars? Who wins this game of 2-6 teams are going in the wrong direction?
I got the Raiders. Now, they played so bad last week. There's no way they could play any worse. So I'm thinking this week they say, fuck this. Let's unload on a pass defense that is pretty good, but they've got the tools to just. Well, all I'm saying is Devontae Adams needs to score more than 1 point than last week. So yeah. I'm thinking like finally the Raiders like blow up somebody and they put 40 on the Jaguars.
Yeah, I'm going to side with you on the Raiders on this one. Just think of who has the big chip on their shoulder. The team who spent a ton of money they both spent a ton of money in the offseason, but at least in the Jaguars side, you know, time isn't ticking with Trevor Lawrence. Time's ticking with Derek Carr and Devontae Adams. It's you know, it's kind of Super Bowl bust for them. So they gotta step up soon. This is a get right game if I've ever seen one. Raiders need this one, so they're gonna take it. And then a couple of teams who have really struggled this year, Rams and Bucks, rematch of last year's game where Cooper Kupp caught the pass that led to the game-winning field goal. Do we see that same fortune for the Rams coming up?
Yes, I think Rams win. Rams win because Brady is still hung up on his divorce, and I don't think the Bucks. I think the Bucks come into every game thinking they just can glide and win, and I don't think they play hard, so they're not going to play hard this weekend.
You make a good point, but none of that matters if Cooper Kupp isn't 100%. I know he's playing, but will he be his effective self? I don't see it at least this week. And it's hard because they don't have any other good receivers to take advantage of all these injuries in the Bucks secondary. So I'm gonna roll with the Bucks in a very low scoring game, under 40 points.
Okay, I like it. All right.
Okay. So my lock of the week. So I'm gonna go with an underdog on the spread as my lock of the week, and that's gonna be the Colts plus 5.5.
Yeah,
on the road against the Patriots.
I like that.
Sam Ellinger did not play well, but in his first start, but it was his first career start. And I'm pretty sure the reason that this line is priced the way it is because Jonathan Taylor is not expected to play. but they have a very capable backup with Deion Jackson. He showed out when he last started against the Jaguars. I think we could see more of that from him. And I'm not confident enough in the Patriots quarterback play to lay 6 points on them. So Colts plus 5.5, my lock.
Let's go. My lock is Falcons +3 against the who are they playing?
Chargers.
Yes, against the Chargers. I think Falcons are hot right now, and they're at home. I think they beat the Chargers. I don't know. And
Yeah, I could
what's
see
your
it.
upset?
Upset. They're gonna let me down again, but the Detroit Lions at home against the Green Bay Packers. They're going to win one of these 50-50 games. And I don't really see like a way. I don't see how the Packers are just going to suddenly turn around. Like the receivers aren't going to just get older all of a sudden. You know, you got guys like Samori Toure catching passes. Like, who the hell is that?
I know.
The Lions play much better at home. I think they finally will pull off one of these upsets for me.
Yes, yeah, finally. I got Panthers. Panthers beat the Bengals. Bengals secondary's hurt. Eli Apple is the only one who's been practicing this week. They need a good secondary to counter this pass offense. I mean, to counter PJ Walker.
Yeah.
PJ Walker's been balling. It's not just the receivers. So I think Panthers win.
You're correct. That'd be shocking though if that happens. So kudos to you if that does hit. So I got less than a minute on the Zoom call. So we hit the buzzer.
Yeah, I saw that. We got it all in there.
Perfect timing. So anyway, this is CHUCK.
I'm Chuck.
And we are virtual going forward, but football will stay in our brains and so will in yours. So with that being said, peace.